Well, it's now official. Yesterday, the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced that there would, in fact, be an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden surrounding all of his activities with his son Hunter, as well as presumably the cover-up that's been attempted by the DOJ of any investigation into Hunter's activities, including Joe. And here's the thing. We already know a lot about this particular topic. In fact, there's a ton of evidence that's already out in public view, thanks to the so-called laptop from hell. You know, the one that was supposed to be Russian disinformation that was dismissed by the entire media in the month leading up to the last election cycle. And here are many of the things we know. We know that Hunter Biden has spent the last decade jet-setting around to random countries as a derelict drug addict prostitute abuser. And he's been picking up bags of cash on foreign boards while calling his daddy on the phone to prove his connection to his daddy. We know that tens of millions of dollars have flooded into Hunter Biden-connected businesses or directly to Hunter Biden. We know that Hunter Biden texted his own daughter suggesting that he paid his dad's bills. We know all of these things. None of that is in dispute. So when people say there's no evidence, like everything I just said, there's tons of evidence for all of that. Literally, the only thing missing would be the quote-unquote smoking gun, namely some sort of transaction between one of Hunter Biden's businesses and Joe Biden's direct bank account. But it doesn't require that to prove bribery or corruption. And by the way, Joe Biden is not being criminally charged with bribery or corruption. Here is the thing. The Democrats broke the mold. And when they decided they were going to impeach Donald Trump without actually alleging a crime, not once, but twice, when they said we are not going to attempt to push even a prosecutorial motion of what crime was committed, no statute was actually cited in either of the impeachment papers that were filed. Instead, there were general accusations of corruption, general accusations of pressure. And they can do that because that's what impeachment is. It's a political process. But once you say that you don't actually have to allege a crime in order to push impeachment, and then you do it twice, why would you think it's not going to come around and clock you again? You broke the glass. The glass is still broken. And here's the reality. If Republicans did not do the same thing in reverse, well, then Democrats would just continue to do this willy-nilly. Because there are two possibilities here in terms of going back to status quo ante, where people didn't randomly just impeach the president of the opposing party. There are two possibilities. One, everybody goes weapons down unless there's an actual full-scale crime committed that could theoretically be prosecuted but couldn't be because the president of the United States is immune to federal prosecution while he's the president of the United States. Right? That would be the better status quo ante, is that we don't prosecute every president or ex-president unless they actually commit a federal crime, and it has to be completely even-handed in how we actually pursue justice. That'd be the better version. And then there is the second version, which is we just willy-nilly impeach pretty much everybody. And from here until the end of time, we impeach everybody. And you know what? I suppose we can live with that too. I suppose we can do that. I don't think it's the best thing for the country, per se. But sure, I suppose we can do that. And that is where we now are. So yesterday, Kevin McCarthy announced that House committees would open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Biden, ramping up GOP efforts to unearth any evidence of wrongdoing ahead of the 2024 election. Here was Speaker McCarthy announcing this yesterday.
These are allegations of abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption. And they warrant further investigation by the House of Representatives. That's why today I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry